Well, I'm glad we have clarification on that.
Good. Well, if there's nothing else.
Thank you, gentlemen, for the day.
Aren't you going to ask me about my politics?
Excuse me?
You asked other people what I believe, so aren't you going to ask me?
What are you doing?
Well, wouldn't you say most of the people you work with consider you a liberal?
Do you mean, am I now, or have I ever been a liberal?
It's a legitimate question.
Is it?
You brought it up.
No, you did, when you asked all of my co-workers. So I'll tell you. I don't believe in labels. I think most people have a mixture of views.
That's not what we're talking about.
Then what are you talking about, Larry?
What we are talking about is you bringing your politics into your reporting.
I did nothing of the kind.
Nothing? Really? Is that why when Barnes told you he got Bush into the Guard, you believed him without question? That when Bill Burkett, an outspoken Bush critic and admitted liar, brought you memos, you assumed their authenticity and didn't bother to source them? That when not one but two of the 4 document examiners expressed doubts the memos were real, you just pushed that aside and rushed this on air? Or why you personally contacted the John Kerry campaign on behalf of Bill Burkett, a man who has dedicated himself to smearing the president? Tell me, Mary, where exactly does politics not enter into this? Or are you just that bad at your job?
Do you know what it would take to fake these memos?
Mary.
No, this is important. It would require the forger to have an in-depth knowledge of the 1971 Air Force Manual, including rules and regulations and abbreviations. He would have to know Bush's official record, front to back, to make sure none of these memos conflicted with it. He would have to know all of the players in the Texas Air National Guard at the time, not just their names, but their attitudes, their opinions, including how they related to one another. He would have to know that Colonel Killian kept personal memos like this for himself in the first place. He would have to know how Killian felt at the time, particularly about his superiors, and then First Lieutenant Bush. He would have to know, or learn, all of this in order to fool us as you assume he did. Now, do you really think that a man who takes this kind of time and precision then goes and types these up on Microsoft Word? Our story was about whether Bush fulfilled his service. But nobody wants to talk about that. They want to talk about fonts and forgeries and conspiracy theories, because that's what people do these days if they don't like a story. They point and scream. They question your politics, your objectivity, hell, your basic humanity, and they hope to God the truth gets lost in the scrum. And when it is finally over, and they have kicked and shouted so loud, we can't even remember what the point was.
But you didn't prove it. You didn't prove Ben Barnes got the president into the Guard. You didn't prove the memos are real. The burden of proof is on you.
By that standard, the Times would never have run the Pentagon Papers, the Post would never have listened to Deep Throat.
Ben Barnes is hardly Deep Throat.
Ben Barnes has confessed to abusing his power to keep some of the richest and most privileged sons of Texas from getting their asses blown off in Vietnam.
Ms. Mapes, don't you think it's possible, just possible, that some of those fine young privileged men, as you call them, got into the National Guard on their own merit?
No, sir. No, I do not.
You had to do it, didn't you?
In the immortal words of Popeye, I am what I am.
Well, I would have gone with "to thine own self be true," but Popeye works. They'll have their findings in a few weeks. I'll call you when I hear.
All right. Thanks.
Hey, Mary. I believe you.
But I think he needs a helmet. Have you got a helmet?
A helmet.
He needs a helmet. No, he hasn't got a head.
Dang it.
Can you find a head?
No. Unless you want to chop his
Chop
head.
his head off?
Yeah.
Maybe. Hello?
Mary, the report is out, and it's very bad. I'm going to put Jonathan Henschels on the line. Jonathan, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Mary, as I said, the report's bad. You're being terminated.
Well, it's not something I would have chosen to do under the circumstances, but...
Hippie scum. Jarhead fuck. If you ever need a reference, what, you can tell him how we destroyed modern journalism together? I'll see you around.
We've shared a lot in the 24 years we've been meeting here each evening. And before I say goodnight this night, I need to say thank you. Thank you to the thousands of wonderful professionals at CBS News, past and present, with whom it's been my honor to work over these years. And a deeply felt thanks to all of you who've let us into your homes night after night. It's been a privilege, and one never taken lightly. To a nation still nursing a broken heart for what happened here in 2001, and especially those who found themselves closest to the events of September the 11th. To our soldiers, our sailors, our airmen, and Marines in dangerous places. And to those who have endured the tsunami, and to all who have suffered natural disasters and who must find the will to rebuild. To the oppressed, and to those whose lot it is to struggle, in financial hardship, or in failing health. To my fellow journalists, in places where reporting the truth means risking all. And to each of you, courage. For the CBS Evening News, Dan Rather reporting. Good night.
My God. You want to go for a walk?